Eh, So, AEW Dynasty 2026 happened last night, which I got to watch for free on AEW Plus because I got the package last time, which is I think the only thing you can get. You you can get either that or a year, so I didn't want to pay for a year. I can't imagine this how it's always gonna be, but I got it yeah pay per view, and I wasn't really gonna think about it anymore. But I realized last night that I got AW Dynasty basically for free because it was two pay per views that they were gonna have two pay per views for the month. I can't I can't guarantee that's how it's always gonna be because I don't remember how far apart AW said that pay per views. But I was excited about it that I got to watch it on AW Plus and I got it or my AW. I always call it AW Plus. I don't know why. But my AW, so I was excited about it. But I didn't watch the pre-show, but I didn't watch the pre-show, but I did see what happened. Camille comes back and attacks Willow. They're going one on one for the TBS title. Presumably, there's no set dates for that yet. But I'm excited about it because for whatever reason, Camille's first AW run didn't go didn't go well. Which I think a lot of that is Camille works better as a singles competitor as opposed to Heater, a manager for Mercedes Monet. We saw him as the manager for Nick Aldis in the NWA when he was NWA champion. He wrestled, he wrestled a bit. I think he was women's champion. Yes, he was women's champion for a time. But but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited whenever that does take place. It's looking like Holly Cameron and we're all gonna break up. I don't know, but but I was excited about it. But like I said, I didn't want the pre-show, but I do know about that piece of information. I also know Jack Perry and Mark Davis went 1-on-1 on the pre-show, and Jack Perry won. I was thinking before I came on here, Jack Perry won the TNT title, which I mean he won it the pre-show, on the pre-show of Revolution last month from eliminating Ricochet. That was a bit of an overrun on the pay-per-view, and I was thinking, well, the TNT title on Jack Perry just won it, and now he defended it on the pre-show. But something's got to be on the pre-show, so if he did not jibber jabbering and everything. It's actual matches, actual stuff that you want to watch, as opposed to just getting in the high packages for matches, which AEW does do. I'm not saying that they don't, but there's actual matches that you want to watch too. So if you want to skip that, you can just go on to the matches that you want to watch. So to start off the pay-per-view proper, which it's amazing how this works out sometimes. I mean, not that they've heard him to do this in any particular way, but that just gave them an opportunity to do this more. Kyle Fletcher got injured, and Kyle Fletcher is going to be out for some time. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. I'll get more onto that when I get on the Will Ospreay match. we had, yeah, I could say Kyle Fiedra got injured. So what we had was Kajuta Okada teaming with Kanoke Taketa to take on the Young Bucks. With this was a really good match, and some, and I mean this is what I mean when I say this opened the door for them to do it a little bit more. Taketa and Okada do not like each other. They're just two alpha males. They cannot coexist. They do not like the other one. But the incentive for Taketa to tag with Okada came in the form of if they won, if they defeated the Young Bucks, Kanoke would get Kanoke would get a future international title shot because they dissolved the Continental Crown and Okada is just the international champion. Which presumably at the next PPV that would happen. But that was the art of miscommunication, though the running knee to Okada from Taketa after one of the Bucks moved out of the way. There was a rainmaker from Okada to Taketa after one of the Bucks moved out of the way. So in the end, which I'm not going to say I'd beat for B, sorry. But in the end, which it's more about the story anyway. This was more of an angle than a match. Not that the match wasn't good. But anyway, the ending of the match comes. Remember I told you about that stimulation. So, Taketa supposedly had all the incentive in the world to win. To help Okada win. Which, funny enough, Okada doesn't have really the incentive to tag with Taketa, and yes, Okada's gonna get a lot of money or something. But Taketa had the opportunity Taketa had the incentive to win against the Young Bucks. But what happened is, in the end, the Bucks are going for the Meltzer drive on Okada. To get to the outside of the ring. To get to have an opportunity to break up the Meltzer drive, or to hold on to the Bucks on the outside, to hold on to their foot so they can't jump up for the Meltzer drive. And to get the thought to do that. But then to get to just back off. To get to just back off and backs in and back off. And because of that, they hit the Meltzer drive and pin Okada. Which is great because now Okada has an incentive to fight Taketa. I mean, not that he needed a real incentive before. Like I said, these two don't like each other. But give incentive to get the two to say, hey, you want to fight me? You want your revenge? Put that in the national title on the line. That's the only way I'm going to fight you in a sanctioned match. So that'll be great. The fun match was real good between the two, but like Omega and Okada, like the first one, I thought they had way more to give. I thought they were saving something. And as we know, with Okada and Omega, they would go on to have much better matches. Arguably 3 better matches. The Dominion 2017 and the G1 special, or not the G1 special, sorry. G1, the one night is the G1 Climax. And of course, that famous 2 out of 3 falls match at Dominion 2018. Which I think this is going to be a similar vibe. Maybe not up there. That's rare Friday where O'Connor no making it up. But it'll be up there, no question. So next up we get so the Bucks win. Want to reiterate that. The Bucks win in a really good match, furthering the tension between Takeda and Okada too. So next up we get Jericho which Jericho returned a couple of Dynamites ago. We get Jericho versus Ricochet. We just get Jericho versus Ricochet. This was a real good match too. This was kind of showcase for Jericho. He dropped that whole Unity Tree thing. He went back to Judas theme song, and he was over. I mean, this was in Winnipeg. This was where he's from. Yeah, the famous meme from Breaking Point. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. So that's how I always remember he's from Winnipeg, because I'm an idiot if I don't know that. So, really, good match between these two was what it needed to be. Ricochet's up top, and Ricochet jumps up, Jericho's on the ground, Jericho counters with the code breaker. We get a couple code breakers in this match. We get a Walls of Jericho, a Iron Soul, some fighting on the apron. We get a lot of interference from the Gates of Agony on Ricochet's behalf. There was one point where Jericho gets one of the Gates of Agony, I forget his name now, but Jericho pushes him into the barricade. The other Gates of Agony member comes in, and Jericho just clocks them with the Judas effect. Of course Jericho would know how to hit that to make it sound good and you're good, but that sounded really stiff to me. That sounded really good. That just real great. Which whether it was stiff or not, I don't know. But good match what it was. Ricochet gets Jericho in. Ricochet's a spirit gun. His uppercut out the corner that he does. His running uppercut. And Ricochet's about to go for the cover, but Tonga maybe that one's the Tongans from WB, I forget. But the big Gates of Agony member tells him to hold off a bit, and Ricochet hits a Giant Soul on Jericho for the win. And next day it's a really good match. It was what it needed to be. It was a showcase for Jericho to remind the crowd why they love him. Everything, and like I say, this was Winnipeg, so it'd be interesting to see how everyone else reacts to Jericho. I think going back to the Judas theme song is really gonna help him, because people love, not that people don't love Jericho, but people love the Judas theme song. People love singing the song, especially with the chorus. People just love that song. So I think that's what's gonna help. Next up, we get an AEW Tag Team Title match. FTR versus Adam Copian and Christian Cage. This was a really good match what it needed to be. We got good psychology. We got FTR mocking the Bucks with the super kicks. When Adam Copeland was down, we got them mocking the Bucks. Oh, also, Christian Cage comes into this match with the broken arm. I forget exactly how that happened. They may have missed that episode or segment. I did miss a couple episodes of Dynamite on it. But Christian Cage comes in here with the broken arm. So FTR talking that. And FTR eventually gets Christian out of the match. And he had a Saddam Hussein. On Adam Copeland for victory. Like I say, this was really good for what it was. FTR beats another Legendary tag team in Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. I don't know FTR goes from here, but hopefully they got some really something really good planned for them. Next up, we get we get Andrade versus Darby Allin, which by all right, this was the number contenders match for both men, but this match has high stakes, particularly for Darby Allin, because Darby Allin said, "Hey, I'm gonna call out the champion for Dynamite," and both MJF and Kenny Omega had agreed, which I don't know why MJF would agree to this, but I love seeing Darby wrestle. I'm not a big fan of the Hype Boss. I just like the technical wrestling that Darby does more. Yeah, I remember a series of matches when he was TNT champion, either the first or second time. His series of matches with Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Or maybe he just had a series of matches with Daniel Garcia, I don't know. But I don't remember. But I do remember he had a match with Sammy Guevara during that time. So both were great. Both remind me, hey, this guy is not just a one-trick pony and not just a daredevil. He gets to go out and he gets to wrestle a really technical sound style. Not that he doesn't do that, and I guess that's what the crowd wanted, don't get me wrong. But he's more of a daredevil. He's into more of the daredevil aspect of his character these past few years, to where we almost forget that he's a really competent, really sound wrestler. So this match is vital, especially for Darby, because MJF and Kenny Omega both agreed, okay, if you beat Andrade, we'll give you a title shot. Either of us who wins, we'll give you a title shot. I get to be uploaded at any date or anything. If you beat Andrade, we'll give you a title shot. So we get Andrade versus Darby Allin, and we get some great wrestling between the two, some good technical wrestling by Andrade, some good daredevil stuff by Darby Allin. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that the daredevil stuff he does is bad. I get his technical side better. But we got some good daredevil stuff from Darby Allin at one point, which this chasing the match pace of the match too, because the announcers are talking about, oh, people think Darby Allin is just Daredevil and everything, and Darby Allin has admitted that he's scared that he can win the big one. He can win the AWO title. Though that was a really good story idea. I'll get more into the match that's gonna happen later as a result of this. But at one point we get Andrade and Darby Allin outside of the ring on the arena steps. And Darby Allin hits a drop kick to Andrade, which I don't. It's not a 1-for-1 comparison, cause he came flying on the steps, but Andrade or Darby Allin hits the drop kick on Andrade, and the only thing I can think of is Samoa Joe. Yet we forget what happened with Samoa Joe, which Darby Allin is smaller than Kofi, and he would I mean that's far from the only regular thing Darby Allin has done. So I have now that Darby Allin's relatively okay, but we get them both back in the ring now. And Andrade goes for the Three Amigos. And Darby Allin counters on the Yes Amigo, counters into a scorpion death drop, into a coffin drop. Andrade kicks out. And Andrade goes to the message for the Underhook DDT. And Darby Allin counters into a Yes Supper. No, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Andrade goes for the Three Amigos. He hits the Three Amigos, but he hits the Yat one in the corner. And then after that, Darby Allin will go for the coffin drop and the scorpion death drop after Andrade has him on the top rope. But near the end, Darby Allin counters the message into a Yes Supper, and he gets a 3. And that was a really good match. I mean, the crowd was the crowd always has been solidly behind Darby. I've always been solidly behind Darby. But, the crowd was solidly behind Darby in this match. We get Darby Allin to get to whoever the champion may be at the end of the night. So we'll get that. But what I like is, which I thought about this during the middle of the match. I would not mind, because remember he beat Bandito. I would not mind Andrade challenging and possibly beating Bandito for the Ring of Honor Championship. Because Bandito's been, not that his reign is bad, his reign is very good. Just, Bandito's been always champion for a long time. Not as young as Cena's been their women's champion, but Bandito's been always champion for a long time. And like I say, Andrade did beat him in a non-title match, but he did beat him. So I wouldn't mind that on an all-age pay-per-view. Which I don't particularly care who wins either. I'd want Andrade to win a little bit more, but they can have a phenomenal match with each other. Especially if they're in the main event for the title. I mean, they just have a phenomenal chemistry together. So, Darby Allin wins. Andrade takes a stand. I mean, Andrade's ejected, you can see that, but Andrade takes his hand because he realizes on this night Darby Allin was a better man. So that was good. That was really good. I'm looking forward to whatever that AW Championship match may be. Darby Allin getting this AW title shot. I don't know if he'll win, but I'm looking forward to it. Darby Allin has gotten a couple of few AEW title shots in his career. I forget which. Excuse me. Darby Allin, Darby Allin goes off to challenge for the AEW World Championship. And like I say, I would not mind Andrade facing Bandito for the All-Way title one bit. Because that was a bit of a run for the Don Callis family and Bandito, where Don Callis was sending each of his men to go to Connecticut, to Ketter, Hechicero after Bandito to try to get the All-Way title. And I remember thinking, may Josh Alexander be the next logical choice. I really want to see that. But then Josh Alexander got hurt. I don't know if that was pre-existing because they just never did that. But Josh Alexander did get hurt, so he is going to be out. He is going to be out for a while, unfortunately. He got hurt about a month or two ago, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, because anyway, would you have to see that. Next up, we get Tekia versus Jamie Hayter, sorry, got it. We get Tekia versus Jamie Hayter for the Women's Championship. Really hard-hitting match. I mean, on the deck, I can't say I was invested in this match as much as I was the others, but this was a really hard-hitting match. Where in the end, Tekia wins with a kind of Zack Sabre cradle as he's back, and she pins the opponent with the bridge, which is great. Great for her. But hopefully Mercedes Moné comes in and challenges Tekia. Maybe she doesn't win, but hopefully that happens. So Tekia retains the AEW Women's Championship. We get I may have got these out of order. I don't think I did, but I'm sorry if I did. We get the AEW Casino Battle Royal for the TNT Championship. I mentioned Kyle Fletcher got injured, and Kyle Fletcher was the TNT champion, so he's gonna be out for such a period of time that they took the TNT title off him. Which is the same, but it's an interesting direction for the TNT title to head in. I'm definitely not gonna go at this beat for beat because there's the odd people in here. But we get Tommaso Ciampa facing off against Ruth. Tommaso Ciampa would beat Mystico, and Ruth beat Anthony Bowen to qualify for spots 1 and 2. So good back and forth here by Ciampa and Ruth. We get the ring filled up. The ring would fill up with a couple couple of Death Riders, funny enough. Cardio's not in the match. I I don't think I can't remember seeing him, but Pac was in the match, and I guess Warrior Yuta was in the match too. Or no, not Warrior Yuta. Daniel Garcia was in the match. Yeah, I knew Warrior Yuta wasn't right. But we got the ring theory showing up. In the end, we got myaew in a submission maneuver by I think it was Daniel Garcia. I don't 100% think that's right, but I can't think of who it actually was, so I'll just say Daniel Garcia. So myaew was in an octopus hold by Daniel Garcia, and Kevin Knight, they're both on the ground, and Kevin Knight coming in with the FOPS for the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Knight is your TNT champion, which is very good for him. I mean, like I say, it's funny how things work out sometimes. But they've been low-key pushing Kevin Knight. I mean, he's not been in the main event scene every single week, but they've been low-key pushing Kevin Knight. And a run with this seems an idiotic step. I couldn't say what they would have done with him if Kyle Fletcher had gotten injured. Cause they had some different plan besides this battle royal. So I can't say what would have happened to Kevin Knight if Kyle Fletcher had gotten injured and had to drop the TNT championship. But now we've got Kevin Knight as the TNT champion. Now it's interesting, and the announcer points out, I don't know if they're going to do anything with this really. I'd hate to see their friendship break up over this. I don't think it's going to. But Kevin Knight and myaew are part of a tag team called Dynasty. And like I say, Kevin Knight kind of took advantage when myaew was in an octopus hold. And Kevin Knight became the TNT champion. The announcers point out, Kevin Knight didn't, not that he should have, I'll get to that in a minute. But the announcers point out, myaew was in that octopus hold. And Kevin Knight kind of took advantage of that. What will happen between myaew and Kevin Knight? Now, honestly, Kevin Knight didn't do anything wrong, and it'd be kind of stupid for myaew to get upset over this, because the Casino Battle Royal was every man to himself, especially for a vacant championship. It reminds me a little bit of the Fatal 4-Way situation back at Dragon Ride 2009 between Batista and Rey Mysterio. I'm hoping they don't go that route. I'm hoping myaew would come out. Hey, mate, we've been friends for a long time. Congratulations. I want the first shot. I want to keep you soft. I want to celebrate our friendship by beating the crap out of each other. So, as you often do. So, I'd like for that more to be the reason rather than the jealousy or the envy on myaew's part. But we'll see. But I'm happy for Kevin Knight regardless if he got the TNT title from breaking. Okay, next up, we got Will Ospreay. We got a match I was really looking forward to. Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley for the Continental title. Now, I didn't really remember this because it happened 6 months ago. AEW done a good job of countering and introducing that, but I actually didn't remember that Jon Moxley the Death Riders broke Will Ospreay's neck. I didn't remember that. I knew Will Ospreay was out. I just didn't remember with the broken neck. I just didn't remember why, because it was a while back. I'll get to that later when another match comes up. But we get Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley. Will Ospreay vowed to cripple Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley almost and wanted to do to him. So we get this match. Will Ospreay come out the gate with the hidden BA right off the bat. I mean, just right off the bat. But the problem is he waits, which would mean he cost him. But he waits because I'm going to assume if you're watching this review, you've already seen the pay-per-view. So that ultimately cost him is yet for revenge. So Ospreay hits the hidden BA on Moxley. He doesn't really play around with him, but plays with his food a little bit. He wants to draw it out. He wants to make him suffer. He wants to cripple Jon Moxley as Jon Moxley tried to do to him. He didn't try it. So Mox rolls outside the ring. Ospreay catches him again with him. Mox is inside the ring. Ospreay waits in the corner, nails him with another NBA, and then Moxley rolls outside the ring. Ospreay gets Jon Moxley in the steel steps, gets his neck, on the cutoff point of the steps. If you've seen where the steps come out, he gets he does that little cutoff point where the stairs connect. So Ospreay talking about, hey, I'm gonna cripple you, I'm gonna break your neck, bro. And Ospreay gets the running start, goes off to the corner of the guardrail anyway, and he's gonna try to jam Jon Moxley's neck into the steel steps. Well, Jon Moxley counters. Or Jon Moxley gets out of the way, he doesn't really counter. And after that counter, Jon Moxley pops up, kicks him in the gut, and nails him with the death right on the outside. I mean, the thing is, it's on the outside, so we can't pin on anything. But Jon Moxley nails him, man. Oh no, this is gonna be this is gonna be bad for Will, isn't it? Yeah, cause the story of the match, which they don't really build it up, but I'm gonna tell you, Will Ospreay had never beaten Jon Moxley. They faced 2 or 3 times. I think just 2 times maybe. And Ospreay had never beaten Jon Moxley. In fact, I think Will Ospreay credit his battles with Jon to finding this more aggressive side. because they were able to channel that to New Japan win, to New Japan title win, to so many attention to his more vicious side that he's unlocked. He credits with his battle to John. So John Moxley gets Ross in the ring. And John Moxley goes to work. John Moxley hits him with a Death Rider, hits him with another Death Rider. Ross pops up with the NBA. We get a couple more NBAs. We get a real good match from these two, as you'd expect. John Moxley gets him up, gets Ospreay up for a style pile driver. And now John Moxley's punishing Ospreay. There's a point where he gets him outside the ring. I think he delivered a brain buster on the floor, and his neck just. And so John Moxley waits in the ring, and the referee gets denied, and Ospreay gets back in the ring. The story of that match also the Ospreay can't hang with John Moxley. We get a really real good match between these two. In the end, John Moxley does survive and does end up beating Ospreay with a high angle Death Rider. I mean high angle. So he pins him with the Death Rider for the 1, 2, 3. And that was a great ring on the story, because I don't know if this is over or not. I'll get to that in the next match. I actually think John Moxley should be moving to something else considering what happens next. But that's a good ring on the story. Will Ospreay was so focused on revenge, so focused on taking Moxley out, it ultimately cost him. Yeah, I can't get it. Remember at the beginning of the match, at the very beginning of the match when I told you he hit a hidden blade? Well, after that, Ospreay checks his imaginary watch on his wrist, and he's like, how much time I got? How much time have I got? And it ultimately cost him. What Brian Danielson, what he said, he's on the commentary team now. He knows John Moxley well. What Brian Danielson says about it is, dude, you gotta focus on the win, and then you can punish John Moxley. Then you can get your revenge. John Moxley waited until the match was over. The Anarchy, or not Anarchy, Blood and Guts. John Moxley waited until the Blood and Guts match was over to break your neck, along with the rest of Death Riders. You gotta do what you came to do. You gotta do your business. Nothing would hurt John Moxley more, honestly, which Brian doesn't say this, but nothing will hurt John Moxley more than using that title. I mean, he's not gonna fall to pieces over it, but nothing will hurt him more than the consequences of his actions maybe coming back to bite him. Now he's got to really take off Ospreay to deal with. But Ospreay gave it to his emotions, gave it to his vengeful side so much. There's a sermon in there somewhere. But Ospreay gave it to his vengeful side so much that ultimately it cost him, and John Moxley still the Continental Champion. which, like I say, I think there's a much better story coming out of this considering what happens next. Up next, we get the conglomeration versus the War Dogs versus Gay Kid, Juice Robinson, and David Finney. I almost said Fitz Finney, but Fitz Finney's his dad. So we get Gay Kid, David Finney, and Juice Robinson defending the trio titles against the conglomeration. Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and a mysterious third man. Though we don't find out until the third man who's the third man is until tonight. But lo and behold, it's Kyle O'Reilly. And I remember what happened to him. I remember how John Moxley took him out. I also remember how Kyle O'Reilly beat him 2 times in a row. Made him tap out at least once. I think that would have been an I Quit match. I think that would have been the I Quit match that they had. Biggest win of Kyle's career, but John Moxley takes him out after that. Takes him out of the Continental Classic, the tournament for the Continental tournament that John Moxley does end up winning. John Moxley ended up winning that tournament. I can't say it's because Kyle O'Reilly was taken out. I don't know that for sure, but could be an interesting story to tell. And you can see what I'm going with here. Kyle O'Reilly should be the one to take that title off of John Moxley. I can't say that's what's going to happen, but it should happen. Because not only that wrestler maybe everyone's mind, which I mean did, so maybe everyone did remember what happened to Will Ospreay and I just didn't. But I remember what happened to Kyle O'Reilly. I remember being heartbroken for him, being taken out of the tournament, being blindsided by John Moxley after he proved he's a better man twice. Kyle O'Reilly to take that title off John Moxley. Okay, pitch over. We get the team of Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Orange Cassidy. Taking on the War Dogs for the trio championships. And we get a really good match here. We get a good match. At one point we get I think it's actually at the end. Yeah, it's at the end. We get but this is what I remember. At the end, Gay Kid goes for Kyle O'Reilly. Orange Cassidy comes in with an orange punch. Roderick Strong comes in with the knee. I'm pretty sure the orange punch misses, but the knee doesn't. So Gay Kid or Cal Con is the one that's either taken out. Kyle O'Reilly wraps the ankle lock around either Gay Kid or Cal Con, I forget which. I couldn't tell which anyway. So Kyle O'Reilly wraps the ankle lock around and he taps out. The conglomeration, specifically Kyle O'Reilly, is the AWTO champions, new champions. And I wouldn't doubt, I would doubt a little bit. I can't say I wouldn't doubt, but I wouldn't be surprised, let's put it that way. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle O'Reilly goes after John Moxley, because remember what I said. The reason they could tie this in the story. The reason John Moxley even had that title is because he took Kyle O'Reilly out. It's because Kyle O'Reilly didn't have a chance to face him in that tournament. Because if he had, John Moxley would not be Continental Champion right now. So that's the match I'd be really looking forward to. That's the story I'd be really looking forward to if they tell it. They'd be kind of dumb not to, because it did turn them in the face. But Kyle O'Reilly gets the win for the team, and they're the new GO Tag Team Champion, which is great. Yeah, like I say, the bigger story is just for me involving the Continental title. But I'm happy for them being the trio champion. I'm looking forward to seeing how that takes out. We get John Moxley. Oh, not John Moxley. What am I saying? We get the AEW World Championship match. MJF versus Kenny Omega. The Devil versus the God of Pro Wrestling. We get this match, and this was just phenomenal. I mean, this was great. Not that the rest of the card was lacking, but your main event should be the best thing on the card because it's the main event. Yet your main event should be the one people are most excited about because it is your main event. This was just a phenomenal match. We got some back and forth. We got some of that fired up Kenny Omega. At one point in this match, Kenny Omega is really good at this. I don't think this was legit. Just Kenny Omega is really good at this. At one point in the match, Kenny Omega looks out of it. I mean, Kenny Omega looks really out of it. MJF is just punching him. MJF is just punching him in the gut, everything like that. Even kitchen sinks, all that. Which is his knee to the gut. They call that the kitchen sink. So Kenny Omega just looks out. But MJF snaps him. And Kenny Omega comes back. Kenny Omega just goes on a tear with a snapdragon, a V-trigger, another V-trigger, goes to the one-winged angel off the top. And we'll get, this was just a phenomenal match. I was gonna kind of talk a little bit more about it, but on that about wraps it up. Kenny Omega goes for the one-winged angel off the top. Well, Kenny Omega gets the one-winged angel off the top. He doesn't go for it. He gets the one-winged angel off the top. But during his comeback, during Kenny Omega's comeback that I told you he had, MJF pulled the referee into the way. MJF pulled the referee in the way of Kenny Omega, and the referee is out. Kenny Omega hits the one-winged angel off the top rope. He goes, no, this was before that, I'm sorry. So after that, one-winged angel off the top rope. Kenny Omega CO'd the Captain Eyes. So CO'd, and MJF rolled out of the ring. And then that comeback spot happened where the ref's taken out, and Kenny Omega gets the one-winged angel. Kenny Omega gets the perfect one-winged angel on MJF. And like I say, the referee taken out. So Kenny Omega covers MJF, gets like a 15 count. The ref comes in the ring. 1, 2, and a kick out by MJF. And I mean, this was after MJF is finding out what Kenny Omega's all about, because all I said was after all I said, the comeback and everything was after MJF hits a crossroad and the pile driver on the package pile driver on Kenny Omega, just really affecting the neck and everything, because Kenny Omega's had neck issues as well as stomach issues with diverticulitis. But when the referee is down 2, this is right when MJF has Kenny Omega down and the ref is down 2, MJF trips the doesn't really trip the ref, he trips just the ref. He's looking around for this. I'm checking the ref for something. When you're in mode, he finds the diamond ring. That's what he's looking for, because the ref searches MJF for the match and finds the dynamite diamond ring and pockets it. So MJF gets the ring, but Kenny Omega is wide to it with a couple of V-triggers, everything. But eventually, MJF gets a couple of V-triggers were great with MJF. But eventually, MJF gets Kenny Omega outside the ring. Or Kenny Omega gets MJF outside the ring. And there's a table outside. And the ref isn't down, the new ref at this point. There's a table outside. And Kenny Omega goes, he's already had some damage done to his midsection and done to his core because of diverticulitis. MJF are targeted to that. So Kenny Omega goes for the one-winged angel through the table. Like, oh man, this is gonna be, whichever which way this goes, this is gonna be the end of the match. So Kenny Omega goes for the one-winged angel. He cannot hit it. He had to get back down because his stomach, the diverticulitis, the coin can't take it. MJF scoops up Kenny Omega on his shoulders in a tombstone position and drives him through the table, neck first. MJF rolls Kenny Omega in the ring for the heat seeker for the 1, 2, 3. And I like what the announcers do here. MJF beats Kenny Omega. He's beaten him twice now. He beat him on Keaton for the AWP title. He beat him here for the AWP title. I really like what the announcers said, because early on in the match, they said about that match on Keaton, it didn't indicate and said not that this match was as good as its own right. But they said about this match on Keaton, Kenny Omega is confirmed okay with like 50-60%. Bryan Danielson subscribes that he was more like 40% in this match, but he said Kenny Omega at 40 or 50 or 60%, however much he was, is better than 99% of the other wrestlers on the planet. And he is absolutely right. So, in this match they do something similar. with there's some treaty tactics by MJF with the diamond ring and the yo-yos and the eye rakes and everything. So the announcer put over, okay, will MJF be able to convince himself that he beats the greatest wrestler in the world at 100%? That he beats the god of pro wrestling. I don't know if Kenny Omega's gonna have another title go out with the AEW Gold. He should. I was rooting for him tonight, but I don't think this is over. I do not think this is over. I don't know when, I don't know where, but Kenny Omega is gonna get another title shot because MJF is gonna beg. MJF is gonna beg Kenny Omega to face him for the AEW title again. But now MJF goes on to Darby Allin, which Darby Allin said his match will be this Wednesday at Dynamite. So we get Darby Allin versus MJF. I don't think Darby Allin's gonna win. I would kind of want to win just for a short run. I don't know, maybe JF can win it back, but I don't think it's gonna win. It's gonna be a great match, cause remember, early on in their career, like 2020, and I mean, even later than that. Now that I think of it, but it's been a long time since MJF and Darby Allin have faced. It's gonna be a great match, but MJF is gonna beat him still, cause Kenny Omega's gonna get another AEW title shot against MJF, because MJF is gonna beg for one. Mark my words on that. I'm not gonna bet you any money in case I'm wrong, but mark my words on that. So this was another great pay-per-view. I may do this again because of what a great value it was. But this was a great pay-per-view, and like I say, some stuff happens, the storyline progressing and all that. I'm a fan of, but I can't wait to see what the next pay-per-view has in store. But as for right now, this Wednesday, we get MJF versus Darby Allin on Dynamite for the AEW title. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. I'm not nearly stuffed up this time around, so that I'm feeling a lot better. So that was good. But thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next time I see you. God bless you.